Ladies and gentlemen, as already communicated to you through various press releases, allegations by Somalia that Kenya is sponsoring and harboring militia with the objective of destabilizing Somalia are not based on any merit. As a people, Kenyans are known the world over for their generosity and hospitality, perhaps more so by Somalis, who have found refuge in this country for more than 2 decades. While in the country, they continue to enjoy almost equal privileges as Kenyans. Due to this, it is here that most Somalis run to whenever violence breaks out in their country. They still do cross over into Kenya to seek certain services, even in situations where there is relative calm in that country. For instance, every single day, 3,000 learners cross into Kenya to seek education. Every day. You may already be aware, perhaps not, but I'll tell you what. Besides the 3,000 learners, 8,000 individuals cross into Mandera for business. Every single day. Over 500 mothers and the elderly also cross into Kenya to seek medical services. And this is because the nearby center of Bulahawa has got no health facilities. And as a peace-loving people, or a peace-loving country, we cannot stop them from crossing into our country. But when they cross, indeed, they overstretch our facilities. But we still bend backwards to allow them to come, not just for health services, but also for education, for business. It is not lost to any of us that we have over 270,000 other Somalis in refugee camps, out of which 81,000 are urban refugees in various urban centers doing businesses. And therefore, if this is a country where they run to in situations of violence, how then can we be the same country that is destabilizing that country, yet this is where they run for refuge? It beats logic, honestly. It would be really counterproductive for Kenya to destabilize Somalia in any way. Because we know for a fact that even when there is slightest conflict, or when there is famine and starvation, this is where they run. For food, for treatment, for education, for pasture, for any basic requirements. And whenever they cross, they are not denied services. They are treated in our hospitals, like I did mention. And therefore, there is no merit whatsoever, even logic, for us as a country to organize, to destabilize a country like that, whereas here is where they run. Because if we do that, where shall they run? They will run here. And therefore, it is important that when a country is thinking about its foreign policy must take into account its nationals who are in the diaspora. That is common logic. So in layman's language, we can say that you cannot necessarily begin to accuse the same hand that feeds you. And therefore, as a country, our desire for peace in the region is unmatched and was demonstrated when a fact-finding commission constituted by IGAD heads of state and government summit and led by the head of state of Djibouti, His Excellency Ismail Omar Gule. And I'm sure he was already aware about this because it has been made public. This commission visited Kenya to undertake fact-finding mission, to carry out a fact-finding mission, but also to verify some of the allegations and accusations that have been leveled against Kenya by Somalia leadership. And while here, this fact-finding mission was given unfettered access to all areas they wanted to visit, including being flown to the areas where it was alleged that Kenya is harboring and training militia to be deployed in Somalia for the purpose of destabilization. If indeed we were deploying and harboring militia, would we have taken them there? This commission itself decided that they're going to be taken to a certain place where, in their own estimation or briefing perhaps given to them on the other side of the border, that is where militias are being trained, they were taken there, and there was nothing. But they also did fly across into the other country, and they saw where these militias were being trained. Not on our side, on their side. So even as we read various publications, various news items in the media, it is also important for us to begin to ask ourselves, is this really genuine? Before we publish anything. It is equally important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that the Commission concluded the following, amongst others. The Kenya Defense Forces that I mentioned that is in Somalia is there just like any other regional military force that is operating under the auspices of IGAD, of AU mandate, not IGAD. And therefore singling out Kenya Defense Forces as being an invasion force. Yet it is not there as a force under the direction and guidance of Kenya as a Kenya government. These forces are given to the AU, then the AU deploys them. Not just Kenya Defense Forces alone. There are other forces that are operating in Somalia. Then why single out Kenya? It's something that you must ask yourself. What would be the reason behind that? The other accusation that has been again leveled against our country is that KDF, while operating in Somalia, do engage in illegal trade of sugar, contraband sugar, as well as charcoal. Now, the Commission also did find that there is no evidence to this, and the accusations were unjustified. Indeed, even there before, the UN had early investigated this claim with the same finding. You know, when there is an allegation like that, or an accusation of that nature, of a force that is operating in an asymmetric situation, then you ask yourself, where would they be engaged in this? At the point when the trees are being cut down? At the point when the trees are being burnt into charcoal? Or at the point when now this charcoal is being taken to the seaport? At what point do you find these soldiers being engaged in the sale of charcoal or in that charcoal business? Where do they take them in the first place? It beats logic. First of all, these are soldiers that do not live in normal structures that we are familiar with. They live in not just tents, in what we call handaki. How many people know handaki here? Maybe not. But these are foxholes. So at what time or at what point do you leave foxholes to go and engage in the sale of charcoal? Whom do you sell it to? So some of these accusations surely have got no merit whatsoever. So you must ask yourself, therefore, then, why would these allegations be leveled against a force that is operating to help in terms of securing peace and stability in that country for socio-economic development? It can only be one thing, that a few times, when you want to consolidate your people together, you look for diversionary, reasons. And sometimes you look for someone that you know that if you accuse that person because of the role that person has been playing, then you may have your people to rally around you. Because Kenya Defense Forces has been very, very active in terms of ensuring that a large section of that country is secure. And therefore, we must think backwards and try to find out, why would they label KDF so much? Because there are those who may be happy with the status quo that was there before, or those who may be happy in terms of their own interest to secure certain political mileage. So as we carry out these stories, we must at all times ask ourselves, is this legit? Is it something that is not just pure propaganda? But the other accusation is this, that as a government that we support Jubaland as a state. Now, this commission found out that there is no evidence. There is no way that Kenya Defense Forces or Kenya government would be able to recognize a region to be a state. We are all aware about the central government, that is Mogadishu. But the fact that certain individuals went to Kismayo is not enough reason to claim that Kenya government is supporting the government of Kismayo. The individuals who went to Kismayo are Aden Duale and Senator Haji. But they went there as private individuals, not representing the interests of Kenya government. So again, that accusation was found to have no merit whatsoever. Again, like I did mention, the commission was taken to where allegations were directed at, that we are training this militia in a certain location. They went there was nothing, right? So in their conclusion, the commission concluded that this accusation by Somalia were all false, malicious, and with no merit whatsoever to justify severing of diplomatic relations. And that these accusations are diversionary in nature, intended to redirect attention of the Somali people away from the real issues on the ground. You all know what is going to happen in Somalia in the next 2 weeks or so. So we must look at all this accusation in light of the forthcoming political activities. But as a people, we are peace-loving in a country governed by the rule of law and guided by the principle of non-interference. We therefore not meddle in the internal affairs of any country, and we expect equal reciprocity. We will, however, continue to advocate for peace and stability in the region and therefore call for total cessation of hostilities in Somalia in order to give peace a chance. As a people, we remain committed to peace in our region, and we shall continue to work towards achieving it.